Okay, in this video, we are going to work with another type of loop, which is called a while loop. Now, we already covered for loops. Now, for loops are really useful when you know how many times you want to go through a loop. So I want to go through a loop 10 times. I say for I equals 1, I is less than or equal to 10, I plus plus, right? It's very useful for that. Now, while loops can also be used for that, right? So let's create a while loop to do the exact same thing as a for loop. So let's say I have a variable x, right? And I say x equals 1, right? The way a while loop is set up is I say while, and in parentheses I put a condition. So I can say while x is less than or equal to 10, I'm going to do the following things. And if I want to do more than one thing, I put brackets. If I was only going to do one line, I could just write the one line there, but I'm going to put brackets here. So let's say I just want to print out the value of x, right? So I could say system.out.println x has a value of x, right? Now, the thing I have to do in a while loop, just like in a for loop, is every time through the loop I have to change the value of x. Otherwise, I'm just going to stay in this loop forever, right? So I would have to say x plus plus here, right? So what's going to happen? It's going to, up before my loop, I assigned a value to x, which was 1. And it's going to stay in this loop as long as this condition is true. So first time through, it's going to say, is 1 less than or equal to 10? Yes. It's going to print this out, and then it's going to make x 2. Then it's going to hit this bracket and come back up. Then it's going to say, is 2 less than or equal to 10? Yes, it is. It's going to print this out. Then it's going to be 3, etc., etc. And then after the loop, if I print it out, print line, after loop, x is, right? Okay, so let's run this code and see what happens, right? So I run this code, and sure enough, it stays in this loop 10 times, and then after the loop, it's 11 because it incremented x on the last time through to 11, came back up, it said, is 11 less than or equal to 10? No, it's not, and it went and executed the next line after the while loop. It dropped out of that while loop. So now x is 11. Now I could have done some shortcuts, right? I could have put right on this line right here, I could have incremented x on this line. And this is where we get into incrementing after or before. But if I put x plus plus on that line, that would accomplish the same thing as that line, right? And I could have it a little shorter code. Is that better? Is debatable. I think in the beginning it's better to just print out the value on that line and then increment after. But again, you're going to see people do it both ways, right? Okay, so that's the way a while loop works. I could count backwards through a loop, right? So I could start x at 10. I could say while x is greater than or equal to 1, print out x, and then every time through I can subtract 1 from x, right? So let's see what happens here. So now I went backwards through the loop from 10 to 1, and then x was 0. I could count by 2's, right? So I could decrement by 2, right? Minus equals 2. And decrement by 2's, right? So now I'm going to go 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, right? And then it's 0. So I can do all these things in a while loop. But let's be realistic here. The while loop has all the things a for loop has. It just puts them in a different place. So here's the initialization, which is the first component of a for loop. Here's the condition, which is the second component of a for loop. And here's the third case, which is what I want it to do every time through the loop at the end of the loop, right? So it has all the components of a for loop, but it is usually more useful when you don't know how many times you want to go through it. And I'm going to explain that later in some common examples. But this is the structure of a while loop.